that autistics have a tendency to detect patterns in their
The rest of that phrase was patterns in their significant other's behavior, and then internalizing that as a rule. I don't want to talk about this because, yeah, we have a tendency to do that, don't we? This is a big problem for a lot of us because this is how we fundamentally, if we are social individuals, have learned how to cope as autistic people. We have learned to pattern people's behavior. We trust their patterns, not their words, a lot of the time, because we've learned that allistic words don't often mean what we think they mean, or that they say explicit things and then they mean vaguely that it's a suggestion, and we've like booked the time and date in our head, and when that doesn't happen we get very hurt and disappointed because we put it in our calendar, mental calendar, that this was going to happen on that date, and they just sort of were vaguely suggesting and then forgot about it. It's a lot of the ways that we end up getting hurt, but we end up looking for patterns in the behaviors of other people around us. If we are that pattern seeking social type, we look and we go, oh, yeah, this person does this, and so I trust that this is the pattern, this is who and what they are. And we can internalize an idea of what they expect from us because of those patterns. And yet they're very often more fluid than that. They often have a very different view of what those patterns are. And this is even true in autistic to autistic relationships, because I don't have as many examples of autistic to allistic romantic relationships in the people I've worked with, including my own. All my relationships, as well as a lot of the people that I've worked with, are autistic to autistic or autistic to other similar flavor of neurodivergence. And typically what I see with those is that even with that, the autistic partner has a tendency to internalize rules that they think the other person has for them. And it's been a thing in my own relationships where I have noticed that with my partners and my husbands, that there are absolutely times where I have presumed that this was a rule now. This was just how things were. And then when I finally got around to articulating that and going, well, you do this, and so that's what you expect from me, or this is what happens in this, or this is how I'm seeing this pattern. And then they would go, no, that's what I expect for me, if they had a specific pattern that they were aware of. Or they would go, no, that's not what I expect for you. This is why I do this particular behavior. I know that I do it, and I do it like this. I've also had some that weren't very self-aware and were like, I don't think I'm doing that. Am I doing that? I don't think I'm doing that. And not in a gaslighty, abusive way, but just they were not aware of that as a pattern of theirs. And then once I brought it to their attention, they slowly began to gather that data themselves and build up an awareness that that actually is what they were doing. And that caused further conversations. So this happens not only in autistic to allistic baselines, or autistic to neurotypical baselines, but also autistic to autistic relationships, where sometimes we cross pattern each other in ways that sometimes cause us to believe that there are rules or structures for our relationship or expectations on us that aren't actually happening.